Stupid me, I forgot that February 27th is International Steph Curry Day. I completely forgot it on my calendar.
I didn't know that was a thing
It is.
Until people started tweeting out.
Yeah. See, you forget. It's like reverse leap year because like a couple February 27ths get lost along the way. But if you think back on February 27th, 2013, 12 years ago was Steph Curry's first 50-point game. It was his 56-point night at Madison Square Garden, 54-point night, at Madison Square Garden. And then February 27th, 9 years ago, in 2016, was the double bang game in Oklahoma City. And we love a Steph Curry double bang game. And then yesterday, so 12 years after the first, 9 years after the last, but February 27th, 2025, Steph Curry goes off for 56 points against the Orlando Magic and makes 12 threes. At 36 years old, Steph Curry made 12 threes, scored 56 points. He had the arena in Orlando, because it was an away game, electric. They're chanting MVP for an away player in their arena. And here is Steph Curry's stat line from last night. 56 points on 16 of 25 shooting, 12 of 19 from three, 12 of 19 from the three-point line, 12 of 12 from the free throw line, 93% true shooting percentage, scored 22 points in the third quarter. That was his 42nd 20-plus point quarter. That is the most in NBA history. At number 2 is Kobe Bryant, who had 36. Again, Steph Curry is at 42 after last night. My husband was having the time of his life. It was also a reminder of we are old, because I cannot believe that Steph Curry first went off for 50 plus in 2013, which surely had to be like yesterday or the day before or a few days prior. But it was 12 years ago. Where were you in 2013?
2013, struggling to find myself financially.
Oh,
2013, what a time. I'm pretty sure I was working a job that I hated, and I hated everybody involved.
So nothing has changed.
No, nothing has changed.
Just like Steph Curry, nothing has changed. That's what struck me, though. Like, since 2013, I was in college, and I wasn't speaking to Chris Luther at the time. I didn't think I was ever going to speak to him again, and he's like a massive Warriors fan. And I remember where I was watching that Steph Madison Square Garden game. I was in a fraternity house watching it with a bunch of people, and I remember in the back of my head thinking, oh, that's annoying. That Chris Luther across the country is probably losing his damn mind over this performance. I wonder what he's up to. Little did I know I'd run into him like a month and a half later. And now I think since 2013, I graduated, I've had 4 jobs, I've lived in 3 cities, I'm married, I live in Memphis, Tennessee, and yet Steph Curry is just still out here doing the exact same ish that Steph Curry was doing 12 years ago. It's remarkable. Like, I will genuinely miss nights like last night from Steph Curry. Greatest shooter of all time, one of the greatest performers, because everything's a performance for me, of all time in the NBA. When you find out that he's in the process of putting together a night like last night, all I wanted to do was watch that game, and I couldn't because it wasn't on anywhere, and that was so frustrating. I wish there was a way, and I know this is impossible, but I wish there was a way where like TNT could cut into the end of the Warriors Magic game in a situation, or NBA TV at least. NBA TV was running, like, funny enough, a Bay Area sports story, and it was featuring Steph Curry, but you couldn't see Steph Curry.
Yeah, the NBA could figure out a way to put those types of things on when somebody's having one of those nights. Put that on the TV somewhere. I was watching the Bucks
Nuggets game,
and so they continuously interrupted, like, hey, just so y'all know, Steph Curry is going the F off right now. And so that's how I found out about it. And then you find out about it, and while the Bucks game is on the TV, hop on social just to see the reactions and try and get a couple of the highlights and some of the clips from the Steph Curry game. He's so good as a shooter, and his game is, all of these guys are really good athletes. All right, some more than others. Steph's game does not lend itself to a tremendous feat of athleticism, right? I don't think so. He's just really, really accurate from 3, from deep. He's 36, and in sports age, like, that's old, but hell, it's not that old if you're not going to lean on your athleticism a whole bunch. Steph Curry could do this especially looking at what LeBron James is doing at the age of 40. Steph Curry could be doing this for somebody well into his 40s and doing it at a high level. He's that good of a basketball player. He's that good of a shooter.
Thanks to Chris Luther, I woke up with infinite Twitter DMs of stats from last night. I will not share every single one of them, but some of the pertinent ones. Most games with 9+ 3-pointers in NBA history. Steph Curry with 45. Can you just guess how many the next person has?
8.
14.
Okay.
Damian Lillard. And Klay Thompson had 12. Steph Curry, most 50+ point games after turning 30. Steph with 9. Wilt Chamberlain had 7. 36 years old, 56 points on 92.5% true shooting. Sorry, I rounded it up to 93%, but that felt fair. Chris would like you to know that Steph has as many 50-point games as LeBron James, but Steph has tied him at 14 with 538 fewer games played. Chris just wants you to know that. That's just a stat that Chris Luther would like you to know in this world. And the 20-point quarter stat was the other one that he flung around. It's wild. That was Jimmy Butler's first game ever playing with a teammate who went off for 50 points, which I thought that was like the most bizarre thing coming out of the night. He technically was on a team with Derrick Rose in Minnesota, where Derrick Rose had a 50-point game, but Jimmy Butler was not playing in that game. Okay. So this was his first time playing in a game with a teammate who went off for 50 or more points. And he only took him playing 8 games with Steph Curry for it to finally happen in his life. It is a reminder. Like, that is why you still look at this Warriors team, and they've been so much better since adding Jimmy Butler after the trade deadline, and I think it's very fair to talk about them in a different way today than pre-trade deadline Warriors. But it's also the Steph Curry effect. Like, as long as he has the ability to do that, you can win any game. The Warriors were playing like poo. Like, they were down, they were bad, and you watch a player like this in Steph Curry, who ends up with 12 threes, and he just had the magic, like, down, depressed, downtrodden. That 3-quarter length shot is my favorite. The reactions of the Magic players after he hits this, like, come on. Like, the entire bench just dejected. That should be the international Steph Curry just did that signal, like,
we don't make dudes or dudettes who can, when they get going, there's nothing you can do. You just kind of got to ride it out. And so in that moment, when that shot goes in, all of the shrugs is like, all right, he's that tonight. There's not a scheme we have. There's not a game plan we can execute to stop him when he gets going like this. Just hold on and pray, I guess. And that's pretty much it. And that can be really, really frustrating as a competitor when you know, like, hey, there's nothing we can do to stop that. There's nothing we can do to hold him. And it can be frustrating when that happens. And Steph Curry is one of those athletes, man. We talked about it with D'Angelo about the difference in really good players and great players and true phenoms, right? And Steph Curry is a phenom in that he can do that on a night. And the Warriors now, not only can he do that, but it's not empty. The Warriors won that game. And so the Warriors right now they can see the 6th seed. They can see that. They can see the playoffs. Pre-Jimmy Butler trade, they couldn't see the playoffs. They can see the playoffs right now.
Through the fog. That famous San Francisco fog is lifted.
And it's not that damn foggy anymore. It's
a nice crystal clear blue sky.
We're a game back of this thing, right? A game or a half game, a half game back. They can get into the playoffs now. Mm-hmm. And if you've got Steph Curry who can do that on a given night, in a series, he can do that in a pivotal game 5, right? Mm-hmm. You think you can win any series. You're like, yeah, we might be the 6th seed, but yeah, we'll go out there and take on whomever it may be. We'll beat this team right here and then take on a 3 seed. And then, hell, when we play the 1 seed, we believe we can beat them because we've got that guy right there on our side. And that allows everybody to play looser, play freer, play with much more confidence because they know even if they make a mistake, there's Steph Curry back there, and he's going to hit a shot to wipe all of that away.
Or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 12. And for the Magic, who have really struggled It stinks for them. They lose a game where Paolo Banchero scores 41 points.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hart, live every weekday at 8 a.m.